Hi, this is Cheryl Deemer, and welcome to my stamping classroom. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful yet simple sympathy card. As you can see, I've used some product from Celebration, and the colors are Smoky Slate and Blackberry Bliss. So let's get started. These are the supplies I'll be using: linen thread, the brushed brass butterflies. The colors I'll be using today are Blackberry Bliss and Old Olive. I'll also be using these basic border dies, especially this one on the left there. And then as for stamp sets, I'm going to be using Quiet Meadow. I'm using the sentiment down here for the inside of the card. And then I'm using this Softly Sophisticated and the embossing folder. And this is free in the Celebration catalog with a $100 purchase. The embossing folder is beautiful to use, and I highly recommend that you get this. Okay, the card supplies that you will need Smoky Slate cut at 5.5 by 8.5, and we will be scoring this at 4 1/4. A piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock cut at 2.5 by 5 1/4. And here you can see I have already embossed it. One of the nice things about the Stampin' Up! Embossing folders is that there's a line at the bottom, and it's so easy to line up your paper and get a straight embossing image every time. Next, you'll need another piece of Smoky Slate cut at 2 by 5 1/4. And then a piece of basic white cut at 3 by 5 1/4, which is for the front of the card. And then this is the inside of the card, which is 3 3/4 by 5, and I've already stamped that. I'm getting out my stamping score tool, and I just love using this because it's so easy to use. We're going to be scoring this in a half, so it is at 8.5, and we're going to score at 4 1/4. The beauty of this stamping score tool is that it's so accurate, and you'll never be off on it. The next thing I'm going to use it for, which is something a little different, I'm using it so I can mark my paper. This paper, in order for me to line up the die correctly, I need to make some tick marks on this. So I'm going to tick mark at 1 inch, which is exactly half, since this is a 2-inch wide piece of paper. And then I'm going to find the center of it, which is a 5 1/4 piece, and the center is at 2 5/8. And so I'm going to mark that. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that piece for the front, that piece of basic white, and I'm going to line it up with the Smoky Slate because I'm going to cut both of them at the same time. I'm going to take my die and I'm going to line it up with those tick marks. So the top and bottom will be lined up and the center will be lined up. And I will run this through my stamping cut and emboss machine. Okay. So I've already done that, and this is just scrap. So now, because I've cut them both at the same time, they fit perfectly together. And so I'm going to adhere the Smoky Slate behind the basic white piece. And it's very easy. All you do is just lay it on top. I'm matching top and bottom and the point, and just leaving a very small border. Next, it's time to stamp. Since I'm using photopolymer stamps, I'm using my stamping pad, and I'm going to stamp in Blackberry Bliss. This sentiment is with the Softly Sophisticated stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that in the upper middle of this piece. Okay, the next thing that I will be stamping is the greenery for the flowers. And I'm using Old Olive. I'm inking up my stamp here, and I'm going to put it pretty much in the middle, maybe lower middle. Then I'm going to go back to my Blackberry Bliss and I'm going to put the blossoms in. Since this is photopolymer, you can see through it and it's very easy to line up the flowers. And even if you're off just a little bit, it looks just fine. Okay, now we're ready to put the card together. So I'm going to take this piece of the embossed Blackberry Bliss and I'm going to adhere it to the front of the card. That goes down first. So I'm going to be using my tape glue here and I'm lining it up, matching the top and the side so that there's similar border. Now I'm going to put this on, but because of the texture of the embossing, I suggest that you use the liquid Tombow glue. You'll get a better adhesion with that. So I've applied the glue and now I'm going to line it up. Again, looking at the top and the bottom and the border on the side. Now you have to hold this for just a little bit until the glue sets. And what I like to use is my stamping blocks to hold it in place. Next, I'm going to be tying a bow with linen thread. I keep it on the bolt until after I make my bow. This saves some, there's less waste that way. So I'm going to just put that to the side for right now. Next, I'll be putting that bow on and I'm going to be using a glue dot. And I'm taking the glue dot off the paper and rolling it between my fingers and then placing it where I want it, which is on the stem of the flower. Then I take my bow and place that directly over it. The last thing I'll be using is these brushed butterflies. As you can see, I've cut the side of the package and it's much easier to slide the product out rather than fussing with the sticky flap. So I'm going to put 3 butterflies on here. I like using butterflies on Sympathy cards because butterflies are a Christian symbol of the resurrection. Last but not least, I'm going to be putting the inside of the card. As you can see, I made a mistake, and so I'm using the other side of the card and placing this inside. And there you have it, your completed card. It's fairly easy to make and quick. And here you can see I stamped the envelope using the other set of flowers that are in this set. Thanks for stopping by today, and if you have any questions, please let me know. There's a free PDF available on my blog. Have a good day.